Hey, Darren. Alright. There, now that I got all the promotional stuff. I think I remember actually getting Atari Vault and then actually refunding it because there was something up with it and I forgot what it was, but there was something weird about it. Maybe? Also, it's weird that I'm not actually doing something with a capture device, so I actually have a good view of the preview window. So, I mentioned in the past that I use, well, if you follow me on Twitter, occasionally I've mentioned that I like to drink flavored carbonated water. And I usually use that liquid flavoring that you're supposed to put in like bottles of water. It actually works with like something like a soda stream or like a self-carbonated water. And the flavoring that I got had a flavor that was just called Green Thunder. And I got it, and I'm trying to get myself to say that, hey, maybe I can actually get to like this, but no, I think I'm throwing it out. Usually, like, the energy versions, the one that have caffeine, have like, it's like Wild Blue Citrus is one of them, and they usually have what it's actually supposed to taste like on it, but this one, it's just Green Thunder. It is supposed to taste like apple, according to the website, but this is the fakest apple that I have tasted. Anyway, enough of that. Let me go ahead and get this started. So, hello, and welcome to a Sunday edition of Retro Rhapsody. Today, I actually forgot what we were supposed to be taking. Oh, right, we were supposed to be. Today, we were going to our original plan was to take a look at the games. I don't even know if I found a third. It was just going to be the games, Blasto and the one with Bruce Willis. I think it's Apocalypse for the PlayStation 1. And I was like, man, this episode's going to be a little bit of a drag. But it then turns out that something that I have been anticipating for quite a while, since it actually got announced, is actually came out last Friday, to be specific. And by that I mean the 11th. Yeah, the 11th. Atari 50. Digital Eclipse was actually have been making a name for themselves in regards to making pretty damn good compilations. If you are familiar with the SNK collection, the SNK 20th Anniversary collection, that was one of the first ones they did. That was pretty good. There's also, I think they did the Disney collections. I can't remember if they did the afternoon ones, but they have been doing some Disney, like the one that had the Lion King and the Jungle Book. That was them. They've been putting a lot of work into their collections. And Atari 50 is an interesting case because it is, you'd kind of imagine, it is an Atari compilation, particularly from the fact that they have been in the business now for 50 years. Although their history is interesting and it kind of gets a little bit into it in this collection, but Atari is certainly a company that has a number of games to it and has an interesting history. So when it was announced that this wasn't just going to be a compilation, this was actually meant to be kind of it's almost, the way I've heard it described is a digital museum piece, which I actually very much agree with that sentiment. This doesn't feel like just like another compilation. This feels like a museum piece. That is what Atari 50 is. Actually, a better way of showing what Atari 50 is actually turning it on. Now, hopefully this keeps the selection that I picked. Also, for some reason, it goes full screen at the start, but then it just immediately goes to window. Okay, we should be good. So, Atari 50. See, it just all of a sudden just switches over to the window. But let me go ahead and clean up my thing here. So, Atari 50 is interesting because it is not... It doesn't immediately take you to a... it doesn't take you to, like, a game list. It takes you to this, which is... goes through the history of Atari. Like, starting out the arcade, talking about the consoles. The fact that they have had a rocky history, to say the least. Their PC kind of origins, and how they handled the 90s, for better or worse. So, I don't have a set plan today. I was just planning on poking around this thing for a couple hours. Or 3DB specific. And as we just kind of come across games, we all just kind of, like, poking up, and then we'll rank some games today, and also taking a look at some fun stuff. So why don't we just go ahead, and before I go into the game, well, let me actually just go into the game library themselves, because there is some interesting stuff in here. Namely, not only does it have compilations, but it actually has some quote-unquote reimagined games, like Haunted Houses, or Neo Breakout, or Quadratank, or a new version of the Sword Quest games, or a digital implementation of this Touch Me thing, which is basically Simon. And Vector Sector, I guess. And yet another Yar's Revenge. There's actually one that just came out recently, so there's that. And then you got a number... Actually, and also what's interesting is that they have some prototypes in here too. Like Aka R, which I've never heard of. Like Asteroids, Black Widow, Breakout, the things you'd expect. But also, I'm kind of surprised that Cloak and Dagger... yes, I have played that. I've been debating... I think I actually ranked that at one point. Cloak and Dagger, which is an interesting game because this is actually... I can't remember if it's based on... Actually, does it... Okay, loosely based on a 1983 action movie. Cloak and Dagger. Again, as Project Agent X. As a spy, you must steal information, defeat robots, and escape underground before it explodes. So that's interesting there. Crystal Castles I'm kind of curious about, because that was originally a trackball game. Fire Truck, Food Fight. iRobot, which is an interesting pull, because this is actually a game that I don't think gets a lot of, mention. And this game is actually kind of neat. Like, one of the first 3D games. It's actually, I like iRobot. Liberator, which I've not really played. Lunar Lander, I feel, is kind of required. Yep. So yeah, Sword Quest Air World is in this. Major Havoc, which is interesting because I think that's the one that has the beer can. Controller, Maze Invaders, Millipede, Missile Command, Pong, Quantum, Space Duel, Sprint 8, Super Breakout, Tempest, Warlords, a bunch of Atari 2600 games. As expect, adventures here, you gotta have adventure. So here's something I found out today that I didn't realize, is that there are hidden games in here. Which you find by doing various things. From what I have gathered, these are prototypes for the most part. Let's see, Asteroids, Canyon Barber Centipede, Combat, this thing, which totally isn't Combat 2, Crystal Castles. So it's interesting that it has multiple ports of games. So it has Crystal Castles on here in multiple forms. Demon of Diamonds, Dodge 'em, Fatal Run, Haunted House, Millipede, Miner 2049er, which I think there's like 3 versions of my Miner 2049er in the HAX. Missile Command, Outlaw, Quad Run, some of the real sports stuff. Saboteur, which I find interesting that they put this in here, which is one of the more notable prototypes that never came out. The one that's kind of a bummer that I wish they had in here, but I don't know if that's an Activision one, is Kabobber, which I always like Kabobber. Secret Quest Solaris, Super Mega Surround, Sword Quest Earth World, Fire World, Water World, and Air World is a new one. Warlords, Yar's Revenge, Bounty Bob Strikes Back, Millipede. So actually have some Atari 20 or 5200, which usually doesn't get a lot of play. Millipede, Missile Command, Star Raiders, Super Breakout, Asteroids, Basket Brawl, also we're in 7800, Centipede, Dark Chambers, Fatal Run, Ninja Golf, which is certainly a game to put on this. Let's see, Scrapyard Dog. Also, I think for the first time we actually have Lynx games on here, but you don't have a whole lot. You have Basket Brawl, Malibu Bikini Volleyball, Scrapyard Dog, Super Asteroids and Missile Command, Turbo Sub. Also, another like really weird pull is that they actually have Atari 800 games, so they have the Atari 8-bit games. So you got the actual proper version of Bounty Bob Strikes Back, Kevin of Mars, that version of Food Fight, the proper version of Miner 2049er, and this game, which I'll go into once we come to it. Also, another verse is that they actually have Atari Jaguar games on here, which is certainly a thing. So you have Atari Karts, Club Drive, Cybermorph, Evolution Dino Dudes, Fight for Life, which I think this is like the actual, like, this is the version. Missile Command 3D, Ruiner Pinball, Tempest 2000, and Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy, which we will absolutely be playing. I have not heard of Cybermorph, so I guess I'll play that later on. Also fun. Club Drive I always find funny. There's probably no art from Trevor McFur because it's an ugly-ass game. God, Club Drive. This might still use the corrupted Club Drive music for his intro for Arcade Pit. That's funny that that's where that came from. Anyway. Yeah. For the Jaguar games they picked a good selection, but also it's the Jaguar. Let's actually go through this. So they have this nice little timeline. Let's see. In the beginning, in a world where pinball was king, 2 engineers dreamed that coin-operated games played on computers could be the next big thing. A company called Syzygy was where it all started. So yeah. If you're... Also, weird control thing, but you pan the picture with the right stick. But yeah, they have some nice pictures of... They're saying the first arcade game, Computer Space, designed by Atari co-founders Ted Dabney and Nolan Bushnell, and was manufactured by Nutting Associates. It was based on the 1962 computer game Space War. Yeah, it was the 60s. Well, 70s, technically. So, also, there is a number of videos in this collection. I'm not going to play all of them because I feel like that would be... you should probably get this collection if you want to see them all, but I will be playing a number of them because some of them are very funny. Also, I like that they have a scan of Al Alcorn's like actual business card, which I think is neat. I am also very surprised that they do not blur any of the phone numbers. That is certainly a choice. Let's see. Atari Inc. On June 27th, Dabney and Bushnell incorporated their company into the state of California, but the name Syzygy was already taken. And so they chose Atari, a term from the Japanese game Go. The company was briefly continued doing business under the name Syzygy, however. Let's take a look at this.
Well, I'd say 30 years to pretty much the present. The arcades have been relegated to the back rooms and the side streets, and generally been an unsavory type of place. What we want to do is bring the amusement game to age. If we can give it a new zip and a pizzazz, it's going to be financially successful, as well as, I think, a very serious part in the leisure time activity of the American people.
The marriage of traditional pinball machines and computer technology has resulted in the birth of a new breed of amusement games. And Nolan Bushnell is the man handing out the cigars. Bushnell has developed two such games, Computer Space and Pong, and believes that they and others like them will move the pinball industry out of America's bus stations and bowling alleys and into the space age. In 1971, Bushnell invented Computer Space, but sold production rights to Nutting Associates of Mountain View, California, for royalties based on the number of games sold. It proved a good deal for both parties. Sales already exceed 1,500 machines. Computer Space, like Pong, sells for around $1,000 and is played on the screen of a standard television set, which has been programmed to display the desired game. In Computer Space, the player controls a rocket ship, which is trying to shoot down enemy flying saucers while avoiding their missiles. If the player scores more hits than the enemy saucers, he gets one free play. By the time Bushnell invented Pong in 1972, he was able to form his own company, Syzygy Corporation in Santa Clara, California, to produce the game. He has already sold over 1,000 machines and expects to sell 10,000 in the United States by the end of the year. Pong, as the name might indicate, is a game of video ping pong. The two players turn dials which control their electronic paddles and volley with an equally electronic ball. The first player to score 15 points wins. While Bushnell did design and program both his games, the technology he uses dates back to the late 1950s. Thanks to research by the Defense Department in the wake of Sputnik, Bushnell is now able to act out his dream of a nation inhabited by thousands of Pong and Computer Space games.
The government spent millions of dollars on this technology, and as a result, now it's cheap enough that we can put it into a game and sell it for 25 cents for a few minutes and make $1 out of it. It's something that the research and development really was done many years ago, and now it's cheap enough that with PC boards and integrated circuits, we can use that technology to our advantage.
The basic electronic unit of Bushnell's games is the integrated circuit.
So I checked, how long is this?
Capable of storing large
we're
amounts
almost done.
of information. The program for a game is determined by specific combinations of these units to form a PC, or printed circuit board. The printed circuit board then tells the TV screen what to do. A single printed circuit board is all that is required to operate Pong, whereas 15 years ago it would have taken enough tubes and wiring to fill an average house.
I didn't see the guy try and lift the hand.
Saw the commercial potential of video games in a game called Space War, which has been played at computer centers around the country for several years.
We used to play Space War a lot at the AI project at Stanford, which is a big computer complex. And one day it just hit, this is a lot of fun, to be able to package it and sell it for a price. And, one thing leads to another, and pretty soon, from doodling on a scratch pad, you're actually working out some basic block diagrams, and from there you think, boy, it's going to work.
So yeah. Also, yes, Video Blank was also very good. Let's see, Genius Atari has created a fully foreign commercial game that is designed for the masses and accessible to the masses. Designed for the masses and accessible to I don't know why it took me a while. Yeah, Eugene Jarvis. Martin, there's a game company at Kickstarted Silicon Valley, and a lot of what we think in Sunnyvale is a result of Atari. I think that ethos of creativity and openness that wasn't common back in the 70s and the 80s, and yet Atari pioneered that. Ed Rosen, current CEO of Atari. So yes. Also, I'm curious, does the Pong that they have here, does it have an AI? Because also, if you go into a game, You do, like, talking about, like, just the stuff they have for the games. I do like that they usually show either, like, manual or a flyer. They can zoom in, it's really high resolution. Looks like there are save states. You have your standard of pixel resolution, zoomed in, and criminal. You do also have a choice of a TV filter if you want, and borders. And I bet you this is going to be... Yep. One player only, or 2 players only, which is kind of what you expect. Also, you just hop in and out of this, which is interesting. Let's see. Let's see. Long doubles. Puppy Pong. This is most going for done. Let's see. Since mostly this is a lot of things like arcades stuff was originally just for bars and stuff. Puppy Pong, I have never heard of. Huh. Pong, the electronic video game everyone loves to play, is now available for waiting rooms in 2 exciting new designs. Now kids, and adults too, will want to be early for their appointments. Happy faces in your waiting room. The Legend of the Broken Pong Machine. So yeah, this is also neat because they do have some new documentary stuff too.
So everybody's heard the Pong story. Probably everybody's heard the Pong story, but I've heard it many times, and from Al Alcorn himself, who designed Pong. So,
the story I've heard is that they installed one of the first Pong machines in a tavern and let people play it as a test.
Put it out into an arcade and.
So they have Eugene Jarvis for a lot of these interviews, and the thing I love about the Eugene Jarvis things is because he's at Raw Thrills right now. I'm so glad that they didn't blur out the the logo, but because of the stuff that Raw Thrills work with, they just entirely blur out the background.
See if it makes money. I mean, that's the market research.
My understanding was Ted built a cabinet, a tabletop, simple cabinet over the weekend, and a coin mech bolted to the side of the cabinet, tabletop type of big thing was sit on a barrel.
Placing a interactive video machine somewhere and having people play it was still a relatively new concept. Nobody knew if it was going to go.
Oh, what is the name of the bar in Palo Alto?
San Jose?
No, it was Andy Caps.
It was Santa Clara?
Sunnyvale.
So we'll put it in Andy Caps. You know, it's a coin-op game, be it fragile and humble, and so we did.
Well, my memory is that he gets a phone call, the game's busted, which of course is the usual thing you get on a support line. It doesn't work. What is it, and in what way does it not work? Well, it doesn't work.
The bar owner or manager at the time kind of yelled at them and like accused them of their game being shoddy because it had already broken down and it was no longer functioning or working. I
appreciate that the Atari CEO is like obviously like, well, of course he's going to be younger, but it's like this like baby-faced CEO.
And they get a call, you know, later on that night and like, hey, this thing broke, you know, come and pick up this piece of shit game and get it out of here. You know, this thing broke. You know, I'm not going to waste my time fixing this crap.
But anyway, the machine, we got the word that it stopped working, and I figured it could be anything, and I'd go out there and take a look at it. And so I went to the machine, and the first thing you do is you want to try to play the game because the machine was on in a trance mode.
I'm going to guess that is because of it's like the R rating PG-13 thing where you can get certain amount of swearing past because I think this is T.
It was working, but you couldn't start a game. So you open up the coin box to basically flip the micro switch to give yourself a free game because I'm not going to waste a quarter, you know.
And so they went down to see what's wrong with the machine to fix it, and what they found out was that it wasn't broken, it was just that so many people had played it, they'd filled the coin box with quarters, and it was jammed, and it couldn't take any more.
So many people had played it that it couldn't accept any more money.
The game is broken because it's stuffed so full of quarters.
Completely stuffed with quarters.
And it was a small, I remember it was kind of small.
Also, yes, Cliff Blazinski's in these for some reason.
It wouldn't take it.
When I opened up the coin mech, you know, all these quarters just gushed out. So, whoa, that's impressive.
It's the equivalent of like crashing a server. When you launch a new website and it's so popular. So they crashed the server on Pong.
And one of the other reasons it was also so popular is because you could play it with one hand while you're still holding a pint in your other hand. And that also was one of those things that, you know...
So the reason why they pulled in some industry veterans just to talk about, because there's some videos about the impact of Atari. So that's why they're there.
Eventually, many, many years later, led to the rise of the fun barcades that we have, you know, and we can enjoy now.
As Al will always say with a little, you know, twinkle in his eye, he goes, "This is a problem I can fix."
Basically, the way it worked was you take the money, the deal you have, and you split the take with the owner of the bar. And so I did that, and I had this sack of quarters, and the next day I come into work, and I said, I got the machine fixed, and here's the problem. Goddamn thing's making too much money. And really?
But it was one of those great moments where something that supposedly was failing was actually such a huge success that no one could recognize. It was truly the ugly duckling version of technology.
Because remember, Nolan thought, he was like, this is just a placeholder until we get to design the really good game, because who's going to play this stupid shit-ass game?
They went on to produce all of these classic, memorable arcade titles for years that allowed the company to survive and be so much more than a one-hit wonder. So that's my understanding of the history of Pong.
It's a great story if it's true.
When a story is good, you know there's some doubt about it. Like, oh, that's too good to be really true. It's probably a boring version of it that's actually true.
You know, it sounds realistic to me. You know, I mean, I've kind of seen that happen in my own. And when you do get a really great game, the coins will just overflow, and you know, it's kind of a cool feeling.
Anyway, that's how that all happened. Yeah.
All right. These videos are very good. There is one coming up that is probably one of my favorites for reasons you will find. God, I love advertisements for, like, these things. Yes, it is the... Also, I'm surprised they mentioned this, because... Yeah, this game existed. Atari's fourth game was a simple maze game in which one player attempted to catch the other. What made Gotcha controversial were the pink domes covering the joysticks, which were meant to resemble breasts. This game's risque flyer extended the metaphor. Ultimately, domes were moved to the machines because of cost concerns. Also, I like the layering on this photo. They kind of messed that up. No, it is not the Lycon game Gotcha. Touch Me. The Atari coin-operated game called Touch Me was not a video game, but an electronic device that challenged a player to repeat an ever-lengthening pattern of button presses. Ralph Baer, the inventor of the home gaming console, saw a Touch Me machine and was inspired to improve upon it to create the iconic handheld game Simon. Okay, that makes sense. Also, this weird thing, which Key Games, which basically was a shell company made to, like, create a false view that there was a lot of competitors. Hank. And then Quadra Tank. Let's see. Earlier arcade games like Tank and Pong were not effective software programs. Instead, they were built purely on custom computer hardware. So this is actually why a lot of... There was... I can't remember if it was controversy is the right term, but MAME for a while was under a thing where you couldn't emulate Pong. So that the version of Pongs were there where just people were getting, or I don't know if people were getting annoyed or like something, but they were like, yeah, we can't do Pong in MAME because there's literally nothing to emulate. Or it's something like it would be way too difficult to emulate. And here's a home Pong. I've never actually owned a home Pong machine with telegrams. Atari Pinball? Okay, this one has Eugene Jarvis. We need to listen to this one.
I mean, Atari really, why were they in the pinball business? You know, here they had this tiger by the tail of video games, you know, just this supernova of creativity and possibilities, and, you know, they were nailing it left and right, creating new genres every other week. Why would you mess around with pinball? You could tell our games were just not working, you know, and due to reliability, poor engineering, you know, thermal issues, issues of the games just falling apart, poor hardware design. You know, I could see the writing was on the wall that we were going to go down. I mean, the pinball division was just a massive disaster. I mean, it was, you know, it's kind of the, you know, kind of the hubris of, you know, I guess Silicon Valley, even in that era, you know, was like, oh, these morons in Chicago, they make these crappy old games, you know, like, you know, we're going to redesign everything. We're going to put the display down in the bottom. We're going to, you know, put the boards, you know, underneath the play field so all the crap falls in and shorts out the things. And I mean, it was really horrific design, and they caught on fire. And, the solenoids, they used this thing called rotary solenoids, which burned up and the screws fell out. And, you know, it was kind of a, you know, just a complete disaster as far as like design and also testing. And so there was a lot of games that caught on fire in the early days. So, but they made a lot of money when they were working. You know, I think the programming was awesome because I did it. You know.
So I didn't actually see. I've seen the Hercules because when I was at MagFest, but I did not play it because I suck at pinball, so I didn't really spend much time. The reason that the background is blurred, short answer is because he is at his Raw Fields office, and he works at a lot of licensed properties at Raw Thrills. So they there's a lot of licensing weird shenanigans. Yes, it could also be porn. Because they're Unity nerves, that would not surprise me. Speaking of porn, what the hell is that? What is that logo? Airborne Avenger. Oh, yeah, speaking of Hercules. At 7 feet tall, 8 feet deep, and over 3 feet wide, Atari's Hercules is the biggest commercial pinball machine ever manufactured. Instead of standard silver pinballs, it used pool cue balls. Ultimately, once players got past the novelty factor, Hercules wasn't much fun. It was the last pinball machine Atari ever produced. Yep. Let's see, the largest, most dramatic flipper game ever. 18 square feet of excitement for 1 to 4 players. Path to Victory Lane awards double bonuses in there, in specials and extra balls. Ball-to-ball memory enhances player incentive. Famous Atari Space Age electronic sounds add extra excitement and play appeal. All solid-state electronics. Available to 3 or 5 ball. Liberal conservative options for higher profits. That is the first time I've heard that phrase like that. Built on self-test system for on-the-spot troubleshooting. Enormous attraction and earnings power collects coins in crowds. Yeah, I would imagine. But yeah. Also Breakout. Hey, it's Breakout. We'll take a look at that later, probably. Klutz Cultures. In 1976, Warner Communications acquired Atari for $26 million, about $130 million in 2022. Atari's main reason for seeking a buyer was not that it needed funding to produce its first game console of interchangeable cartridge, the Atari VCS, but the marriage of Atari's freewheeling spirit and Warner's corporate culture would prove to be an uneasy one. Why Warner wanted Atari? Ray Kassar, a Harvard Business School Harvard Business School graduate Ray Kassar enjoyed a successful career in textiles before Warner installed him as president and CEO of Atari in 1978. Kassar led the company through its most intense periods of rapid growth and enormous profit, as well as its most dramatic financial losses. Let's see. When Warner kicked in, Ray Kassar had marketing that knew nothing about games and didn't play games. Marketing told engineering what to do and basically turned into a stodgy, old, calcified, filthy rich company. When he came to Ray Kassar, there is now a new mindset. The new mindset is, we got a cash cow and it's time to milk the crap out of it. Scott Warshaw. That will come later. That will come up later on. I don't think Ray ever understood anything about the value of the engineer talent that he had. Wendy Allen, Lunar Lander. So this next one's a fun one, especially if you think about today's climate of stuff. A Fateful Shirt. Relations between Atari designers and management at Warner did not improve when executive Ray Kassar called the designers a bunch of high-strung prima donnas in a newspaper interview. In response, the designers printed these shirts which had just another high-strung prima donna at Atari and wore them to work. That is a good move. There were a fair number of people miffed at the high-strung prima donna thing, and Carlino, who was one of the graphic artists at the publication group, just thought a little and said, that would make a great t-shirt. So this is a good one.
You will hear stories of hot tubs in the lobby and drug use in the office. And I'm here to tell you that none of that happened in my department.
We started smoking pot right in our office. Rob and I were like the premier pot. Sorry, Rob. I and some other person who occasionally shared an office with me for 5 years at Atari, however that frickin' worked, we would just fire up right in the office. It's like, who knows why? It's like, this is like, it's illegal. It's like, it wasn't even a sense of privilege. It was just mindlessness.
I worked in a satellite office. I started in 1977, which was still pretty early. It was only 18 months since the 2600 came out. But there was no hot tub in the lobby of the office that I went to. There was no drug use in Atari, though I don't doubt that it was over where Howard and Todd Fry were working.
Drugs were consumed at Atari by all kinds of people at all levels of management, from the bottom to the top and all over engineering. Not everybody did drugs, but some people did, and some people enjoyed them, and some people abused them, and some people went to the hospital on them. And but by and large, drugs were a relatively nominal factor. Drugs, you know, there was a lot of marijuana, and it participated a lot in brainstorming. So we had the way of, you know, trying to incorporate drugs into our productivity model.
I went home and I smoked a joint, a little bit of cocaine and a little bit of psilocybin in it. And I was sitting there, it was about half gone when I realized, oh, you could do that. And it's like, I put it out and I went and I wrote a page of notes. And my design for that kernel was exactly what it ended up shipping. It was like, it was a tremendous amount of effort, actually, to get everything organized.
You know, they did have good deliveries of cannabis in the inter-office mail. You know, that was probably the primary use of those yellow manila envelopes. I think it was, you know, Fridays or Monday. I think it was Fridays when you get these really thick envelopes coming through the system. And, you know, and it was weird. There was a guy working there, and his job was he was the weed dealer. You know, he didn't really. That was his sole job at the whole company.
And there was a very straight German VP of hardware down the hallway in the building. I have no idea. He complained to management about the smell of pot smoke in the corridors. So they got him an office in a different building.
I have been asthmatic since I've been 12. I need drugs to breathe. I did not do drugs because drugs to me were something that let you get up in the morning, you know, and breathe. So and nor did I think I wanted to mix those things. The high of me was doing the work, and I was always a happy guy. So I just didn't feel I needed it. So I never did drugs, but there were a lot there.
Don't put too much stock in the fact that every Atari employee was stoned out of their minds while making games.
I mean, there was all kinds of drugs consumed at Atari, but the real drug at Atari was going into a store and seeing your product, seeing your game on a shelf.
The fact that video's in here is a testament to digital clips. Let's see, Sprint 8. Atari Video Music, the first electronic music visualizer ever sold commercially, Atari Video Music. We hooked up to a user's stereo system and television set to display psychedelic visuals reminiscent of Atari VCS graphics of the rhythms or whatever music was playing. A variety of knobs and buttons were at the front to let the user display visuals. That looks like... Yeah. Let's see, fire truck. Superbug. Super Breakout. 3 games in 1. Users will double progressive and cavity game variations are detailed in the Super Breakout's flyer, noting each requires even more skill than the original game. And Lunar Lander. Vector games started to look different than raster games. There is a mental shift in design when working with vector graphics. Oh, okay. Okay, so that's what that is. Okay. I'm actually curious. I wonder... Oh yeah, going into like the... Like there's Touch Me, which apparently, I guess, predates Simon. Oh, also, I like that they've modeled the box. Is it like... Huh. High resolution, 32 by 32. Asteroids. 3 ways to play. Missile command. Oh, I wonder if they have some... Oh. I'm surprised they don't have the thing about, missile command of the guy's nightmare. Oh, yeah, there we go. A decidedly political game, the Missile Command was the artifact of the Cold War and an expression of fears about nuclear annihilation. Creator Dave Theurer ended each game with a chilling "the end" that signified the humanity's doom, an idea that came from the nightmares that he was getting from developing the game and dwelling on the looming specter of nuclear warfare. Cosmos, the holographic handheld. In January 1981, Atari announced that it would release Cosmos, a handheld gaming system in which each game would be displayed atop a custom hologram image. The game's graphic was made of simple LED lights, but the holograms provided a dynamic, realistic backdrop. Atari never released the Cosmos.
When was this? 1980, 81, that time frame. Prior to Ray Kassar's emergence, I was part of the executive staff, you know, and Nolan, Joe, I, Steve Bristow, Gil, Dennis Groth, finance, you know, we were all friends and no politics and all that, and we all worked together and part of the team that set, it was great. Once Ray took over, nope, it was all a closed office, and he met with all his hires from Procter & Gamble, and so I realized, okay, I'm out of this. I'm either going to have to quit because Nolan had gone, Joe had gone, Lipkin, everybody had gone. I figured, well, I'll go back. This is my baby. I'm going to do it one more time. And we had used holography. We couldn't keep secrets at Atari. We were just no good at it. So we decided the best thing to do was put out disinformation. So one of the best ones was the next coin-op game is going to have holography in it. It was like, what the hell is that? I knew what it was, because having, you know, been to college and studied this physics and stuff. But that was just, but anyway, I decided, well, let's do something in holography. Maybe there's something there. I'll take it. Sounds hard, sounds interesting. I know a little bit about it. And we proceeded to explore holography and what could be done, and came up with a holographic toy that basically sold it to Ray, saying, how would you like, because the cartridge video game business seemed to be very good. How would you like to have a system where the cartridge, it's a cartridge-based system, but the cartridges are half the cost of, everything is half the cost of the VCS. And, hey, go ahead. It were very simple. They were nothing more than an LED, a simple LED game, the handheld LED game in those days. The only difference was we had a hologram with 2 images on it. You look through this box, and there were 2 lamps inside, and when you'd crash a spaceship, you'd see a hologram of a spaceship crashing. And but you could look through this half metallized mylar and play a Space Invader game or something like that. We did all the work, put everything together, got a chip designed, package designed, and at the end, Ray wouldn't. We even took it to the toy fair or the consumer. And marketing wouldn't show it, wouldn't back it up, and we did it ourselves, engineering. And we think we sold 100,000 of them, but Ray would not release it, just wouldn't do it. And I realized that was it. They're not going to release that. I mean, this is now in a time when if it failed, you wouldn't even notice it. It wouldn't be a pimple on the balance sheet. But they were afraid to do it. Back when the whole company was, we're sure we'd do it. So that was the end of my career at Atari.
Huh. Let's see, what else we got? Yep. Centipede. I like that bug. Let's see. Lowrain's extensions of Edlog regarding your Centipede game description. Consider theme of Dragon Quest with dragons trying to steal gold and jewels. Limiting the mobility of the knight or wizard to the entire bottom half of the screen. Separated dragon segments shorter than 2 units, head and tail die shorter or longer segments before become separate dragons. Multi-headed dragons? Multiple player weapons. One life as an archer, another as a wizard, another as a knight, etc. Huh. That's interesting that they had stuff like that. Tempest. Maze Invaders. Oh, thank you for the bits. I'm surprised I didn't have a thing for that. Pudgekin. Space Tool. Let's see, Gravitar. Millipede. Liberator, Quantum. Let's see, a color shooter by Dave Ralston and Mike Hawley. The name is apparently derived from the phrase, also known as another Ralston Hawley, with some extra letters. Aka R was produced in 1982, but never officially released. You know, we have not actually really played a lot of games. Let's actually take a look at this. This certainly is thing. So I wonder if I do that so we can get a little bit more of the thing on the side. The Georgian fleet in this. Let's see. Let's see, is it? Oh, I see. What is this? This is certainly... This is very disorienting. Oh, what? Okay, I think I get this. Yeah, this is certainly an Atari game. This really feels like you need a trackball for it, though. Oh, actually, that's a good point. Oh! Okay, slight problem. There we go. I forgot I could actually use my mouse. Oh. So the slight problem is the fact that if I use the mouse, it moves the window. So that's a slight problem. Well, I messed that up. Alright, so that was Aka Arc. Or Aka R. Let's see, that was unreleased. Let's go ahead and put that on the board. Yep, also let's get this proper. Yep, also let's sort this out. Okay. Oh, what episode is this? This is 582. Never. Let's see, by Atari for the arcade. Technically, well, kind of a shooter in a weird way. And I'm guessing that's a high concept ass game. Go the 80s. Huh. Let's see Skull and Crossbones. I think Skull and Crossbones is a better game than that. Battle Carrot. Commando. Gaiden. I'm kind of thinking that's a 14. And yeah, that was definitely a trackball game. Let's go 14. I can't really think of much else for that. So let's continue. See, Black Widow. So it's a conversion kit for Gravatar. Food Fight. Oh, actually, this probably is actually a good way of doing Food Fight because this game had analog controls. So let's see how this actually works with this, because this actually should... Yes, it is the game with that animation. I wonder what... So, one thing that I see, unless... Oh! So one thing that I see that is a slight bummer is that it doesn't look like for arcade games that you can change options, which is a bit of a bummer. So what are my controls? Hey. Yum. So yeah, pick up... Oh, shoot. Also, I wonder... Oh. Also, I wonder, it seems like that is a very high score. I wonder if that's like the defaults or if that's actually digital clips. Nope. Nope. Okay. Okay, that's food fight. Let's see. Where do we put food fight? Well, then at 15, I think that's a little low. Let's see, what do we got? Got Vigilante at 12, R-Type, Puyo Puyo. Is that basic Puyo Puyo? Okay, it's the arcade one. I think that's at least a 12. So, let's put that there. Alright. Let's see, Crystal Castles. Which, that's originally a trackball game, so... I'm gonna just pop this out. I'm curious to how the trackball, or how it feels with out a trackball. Oh, this... Okay, this is a little rough. Yeah, that's quite rough. But that's kind of hard. Major Havoc. Let's see, designed by Owen Rubin with some participation from Mark Cerny. I wonder if they got him to... Okay, they didn't. Let's see, Firefox. They have innovated latest allowed arcade games to present full quality video sequences, although the designers had to get rather creative with them because the interactivity was extremely limited. Firefox used footage from the 1982 Clint Eastwood movie Firefox. Players would insert more coins when starting a game in order to lengthen their flights. Cloak and Dagger. And then iRobot. Let's see, the final arcade game produced by Atari Inc. before it was sold off the arcade division in 1984. iRobot was the first arcade game to use true 3D shaded polygonal graphics. Players could choose but either play the action game or use a 3D drawing program called Doodle City. So let's take a look at iRobot. So yeah, it's very early 3D. Let's see. View the flyer. Higher level space sharks must be avoided. Oh, also... There's that. Start zoom in. Okay. Let's start. So, iRobot, the game. Doodle City, the ungame. So, the goal of iRobot is to basically uncover... Basically draw over all the red. Also, you do not want to jump over when the eye is looking at you. Oh yeah, when I inevitably die in this... I will show off Doodle City. Oh. The collection seems... Yes, the collection is pretty good. Okay. Oh, shoot. Kind of. Oh, oh. Yeah, I'm bad at keeping an eye on two different things. Tired of video games burned out mass destruction? Forget the game or relax in Doodle City. Let's try some Doodle City. Let's see, what other things we got? Let's see, is there a control for both starts? There isn't. Okay, that's weird. You. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is not Mario Paint. Oh, wait. Oh, you get that and 1 credit. Okay, nope, I couldn't time that right. If I couldn't time that right is I didn't time that right. Yeah, like, this game's weird. Also, the fact that you can change your view. Oh shit, that was wrong button. There we go. Oop! There we go. All right. So, with that, let's go ahead and put that on the board, because I think that's enough for iRobot. Okay, so it was 1984. And that was space. There we go. I think that... I like that game. I think it's neat. It's a little rough because of its earliness, like its age, but... still, I think pretty good. Like, actually kind of looking at Virtua Fighter, like, in a way, because it's like, oh, that's another early 3D game that's good, but it's also kind of old. Probably a decent spot for that. I think it's 9, because it's good. But a little rough around the edges at some point. So let's go ahead and give that a 9. I think the charm is pretty neat for it. And I actually too kind of like how it looks despite its age. Like, there's something about its earliness that actually makes it look a lot better. So, I think that's good for iRobot. So, with that, let's return that, except before we continue on, I will be right back. Alright. Now that we're done with that, that returns the end of this arcade one. So now we get back into the actual like console bits. So talking a lot about the Atari 2600. I'm not going to go into these next or these the other four quite as in depth because, you know, that's my enticement to get the collection. But I'll poke around in this a little bit. Actually, there is one thing I do want to show. So one thing I think is also, I kind of find this fascinating that they have a section for this. Like, it's a very important part about the history of Atari, but the fact that they even mention Activision, I think, is interesting. We were responsible for making $16 million at Atari, and we were getting paid $20,000. The Monday I started was the Monday after the Friday that was the 3 of the Activision 4 left in August of 1979. Well, that was a bunch of talent that left, and it turns out they weren't completely irreplaceable. See? So you got Adventures. This is also why they talk about Adventure.
I'd have to say one of the more influential Atari games that hit me hard was Adventure.
Adventure had been a very popular game. Adventure is related to really a nerdy game. It's related to like text adventures or to Dungeons and Dragons more than any of the other things, any of the other intellectual property or content on the 2600.
So many games were just like kind of shooters and, you know, combat and whatnot, things like that were very simple. But Adventure really broke the mold for what the 2600 was capable of.
But one of the most, like, I feel like magical, impactful moments on me with the Atari games is that we got Adventure. And I saw the cover at the drugstore, because that's where we had to buy video games, at the drugstore behind the photo counter. And we got it home. I was so excited to play it. I just didn't read the instructions. I just ripped it out of the box and like played it and started playing it. And I was like, oh, and there's Dot, and there's like, you know, the duck chasing me, and I got an arrow, and I can't figure out what's happening. He ate me. Oh my God.
The weird thing about Adventure was the dragons were supposed to be dragons, but they just looked like ducks. I don't know what they were thinking there.
The bridge and the bat, and it's like, it was so baffling. I really loved that experience of somewhat confused experience. And I feel like that's actually something I love still in games now, when there's that moment of like, what the? Where you just get, games can do that. They can just surprise you, and they can make you feel really bewildered. And then as you slowly figure out how they work, that's part of the pleasure of them, I think, is that not knowing what to expect in them. So that moment of being surprised by Adventure has really stuck with me. Another thing I like about Adventure that I try to incorporate is that feeling that the game is really alive. The characters who are in that world live even when you're not looking at them on the screen. Like when the dragon or the bat flies on the screen in Adventure, you feel like it's been on a journey. It's been somewhere. Oh, the bat went over and it stole the shield. It stole the sword, and now it's in the rooms. Like, you don't feel like it was just spawned in that room. It's been in another room doing bat adventures.
And what it provided for me was a sense of mystery and exploration that would later influence the 2D adventure games that I would make that would help launch my career.
So yeah. Also, of course, they go over the Warmup Easter egg. This is cool that they put in like a little thing from a magazine talking about the Easter egg. Yeah, I feel like it's also that stuff is like so well known that I feel like not talking about it is probably like Huh. See Atari Domination. Like, also, like, they got Yar's Revenge. Also, I like that they included this picture. Signed copy. Also.
So I looked over this game. It was Star Castle. I played it a bunch. I thought about it on the VCS. I looked it over and I realized, holy crap, this is going to suck. This is going to absolutely suck. And I could not afford to have my first project suck. I did a little preparation, and then I marched myself into Dennis Cobal's office, and I said, look, instead of doing this, I'd like to do this. This is something that I think uses some of the basic game ideas, but I think this is something that would work on the system. This other one won't work. And I just made this little presentation to him. And to his credit, he said, okay, you know what, go for it. The first thing I put up on the screen was an animated character. Most people use a block because they want to start working out their game mechanics and stuff like that. I put up an animation. That was the first thing I put up on a screen. And people would go by and they go, wow, that looks cool. What does it do? I'd be like, nothing. You know, that's what it does. There it is. I said, I'm still working on it. Don't worry. It's like, and then it got to the point where it was time to actually play it and have some of this stuff. So I had achieved my goal of trying to make something interesting. And it sucked as a game, and I was exactly caught in the place I didn't want to be. So what I did was I started taking feedback, which was extremely painful, to hear people telling me how much my game sucked. The only thing that really made it tolerable was that I wasn't so self-deluded at that point that I didn't realize it sucked also. Until I worked out making some of the changes and getting it through, I was in very bad shape. And I was feeling some very negative feedback from some other people, and I was feeling, you know, I'm usually the person who's hardest on myself. And that was a tough time for me. And I had to get through that before I could hear what people were saying and start to work on it. And I had to release myself from, but I have to have this, but I have to have this. You know, as a therapist, I always catch people when they say I have to. I always love, people say, you know, I have to, but I have to do this. And I always stop and I say, look, you don't have to. Obviously you don't have to because you're not doing it, right? You don't have to, but you could, but there's probably a reason you're not. And the reason I'm able to give that lesson to my clients now is because I had to get over that. I had this have to that was making things not work. And until I could let that go, I couldn't make the game succeed. And when I did, it forced me to think in new ways, to think outside the box, and to go come up with some other left field solution. And when I made those changes, then suddenly yours was really good.
I don't know if he's actually a therapist or if he just, like just kind of, like, therapist as in, like, oh, that's part of the thing. Oh, no, he is actually a psychotherapist. In 2011, Warsaw received a Master of Arts degree in Counseling Psychology from John F. Kennedy University. In November 14th, 2012, Warsaw became a licensed psychotherapist in California. He has a private practice in Los Altos, and as well as doing public speaking and training delivery in the Silicon Valley area. So yeah, he's a therapist now. Oh, I didn't realize this was a video.
One of the product managers came by who was responsible for this product, and he goes, hey, well, we're working on naming your game. And I said, can I make a submission? Can I submit a name? And he goes, sure, why not? I said, okay, I tell you what, come by here tomorrow morning. I said, you guys won't have it settled by tomorrow, will you? He goes, no. I said, come by tomorrow morning, I will have something for you. I will have a submission for you. So now I know what I'm doing for the rest of the evening. And I don't know if you ever tried it before, when you just try to make up a new word, everything sounds stupid. At least it does for me. Everything, I can't come up with something that sounds cool. Everything sounds kind of dumb. So being the algorithmic thinker that I can be at times, I thought, well, if I can't just spontaneously come up with some name, I should come up with a way to derive the name. I'll come up with an algorithm. It's a simple title, what's going on? Maybe I need an action thing. You know, because it's an action game, I need an action word. I don't know the name of the character, but I thought, you know, revenge. Revenge is a great action word because everybody wants revenge, right? So I figure I'll go with revenge, and now all I need is whose revenge is it? Now I just need the name of the character. And then I thought, well, one of the great ciphers is, you know, writing something backwards. That's never a bad idea. You know, the head of the company's name is Ray Kazar. And Ray spelled backwards, that's Yar. And Yar sounds pretty cool. It's got a Y in it, so it's got like sci-fi, anything with Y's and Z's, you know, and maybe an X somewhere. That's good sci-fi stuff. And I sat down and I wrote a 10-page story called The Yarian Revenge of Razak IV. And that was that was going to be the title of the game, The Yarian Revenge of Razak IV. I stayed all night in the office. I was done like 3:30. I just laid down on the floor in my office and got a little sleep. And then around 10, you know, in comes the marketing manager. And so I handed him the package. I go, here you go. This is the package for the story. I didn't realize it fully at the time, but what I had done was I had created the first backstory in the history of video games.
Huh. Yeah, also is good cover art. Oh, is this the full comic? Oh, yeah. I'm gonna turn this off so you can actually see this. Huh. You know, I wonder if... Thinking about how Yar got its names, I wonder if the quotile, like the thing you're supposed to hit, I wonder if that came from like the name of like quota. Quota and percentile, I wonder. Huh. It's kind of neat. Oh, also they have this, which is interesting. This is kind of what I want to show off.
A fly. I'll have a mutant fly. Hello, Yar. You'll need some protection. Ion zone.
Oh, there's no captions for this.
Shift chroma. Intensify. Okay, now you'll need some weapons. You have a formidable enemy. The Kotile. Watch it, Yar. He has a lethal drone. And some other tricks up his sleeve. Spiral. Go. Good move, Yar. Now I have a surprise for you. A Zorlon cannon. Use it, Yar. Fire again. Got him. Yar's Revenge. Yar's Revenge, a video game. Yeah, this can be fun. This can be a lot of fun. Like asteroids. Get him. Do it. Beautiful. Watch it. Disintegrate. Now let's go into deeper space. Galactic map. Sector 11.
This is a commercial.
Hyperspace. Sights in. Cylon warships, attack. Steady, stand by, photons. Star Raiders. That's it, Star Raiders. That'll keep them on their toes. Let's see what we can come up with next.
We're Atari. We have the vision, and we invented the technology to bring the excitement home to you.
Huh. So yeah. So Yar's Revenge is enhanced. So the weird thing is that there was just a game released that was... what's it called? I think it's Yar's Revenge... Let's see. It is... Because I haven't installed. Yar's Recharged just came out relatively recently, which I want to do an episode on that. But it is interesting that there is another remake of Yar's Revenge here. So let's see what this is. Oh, I guess we're just in. Okay. Okay, so it's just kind of like a port of the original game, but like with updated graphics. Yep. Oh shit! So Yar's Recharged is actually really cool. So it's part of a chain of a bunch of Recharge games. And I want to do a showcase of those because those are like really cool in concept. Oh shit. Yeah, apparently from what I've heard from the Recharged, or from other people who have played the Recharge games, that the Yar's Revenge one is actually probably the best of the bunch. Too close. Nope. Okay, so the hitbox for the thing is a little bit bigger than I thought. Nope. Oh, okay, that's it. Okay. Oh, it is actually just gives you the... it's just the instruction manual for the game. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, that's... It's the original Yars' Revenge, but just different graphics. Like, I think that's a cool effect. Where do we have Yars' Revenge, actually? We have Yars' Revenge at 11. We have not touched this in a while. 582. I think this game's still, like... I think maybe... I don't think 11 is quite there. I think it's slightly better than 11. So let's give that a 10. Oh, not a 1. Move it up just a little. Oh, wait. That's actually the... That is the, That's that remake, actually. We were talking about earlier. That actually does probably be 11. So that's 15? The original 15? No, that's... Move that up to that. That's the one I want. 582. Okay. Fix that. Alright. So, we're an hour and a half in. Also, I do like that they basically was like, yeah, this section in Atari's life just kind of wasn't great. So, also, it's talking about, like, I'm surprised they bring up the Intellivision. And so, stuff like Demons and Diamonds, the Real Sports, the Sword Quest stuff. Which I might just bring this out again. Probably not going to do Sword Quest stuff today because that probably requires a little bit more deep dive. So I like that there's an official Atari handshake. We met recently with an Atari vice president who prefers to remain anonymous. Class hands it a regular handshake. Let the other person's thumb grasp with your free hand. Rotate the thumb like you're holding a make-believe joystick. Huh. Okay. So yeah, talk about the Atari 5200. Which apparently that controller kind of really sucks. Star Raiders. Centipede. I like that. That's a good logo. Sword Quest. Quad Run. Real Sports. Alright, well since it's a big, let's see, how long is this video? I feel like this, if we're talking about Atari 50, I feel like this one...
You have a tragedy, and I do believe that the fall of the video game industry...
Okay, they do say E.T.
It was a tragedy to many, many people. It changed a lot of lives.
I think it's pretty obvious when it comes to the video game crash that Atari didn't have control over the quality.
I mean, it needed some sort of way to keep just anybody from writing cartridges for it.
And so many people saw this video game gold rush, and they...
I appreciate that for these ones they put the, hey, worked on Pac-Man, worked on E.T.
Just, started dumping crap. I remember going into KB toy stores and just seeing, really bad box art and just really just terrible looking games. And that's when I started losing interest, and the market became flooded just with garbage. And it ultimately led to, of course, things like E.T. being, actually buried in the desert like garbage.
And what happened was that E.T. became the face of the crash of the video game industry, and I, of course, was the butt behind the face. You know, that's kind of the way it went.
Greed and hubris, that's what undid Atari. If they just had worked more from a place of like focusing on making great games and delivering great games to the customer instead of like, how can we maximize revenue, I feel like they'd still be a huge powerhouse today.
Frankly, Warner did not understand technology. They didn't understand the consumer marketplace, the video game, and Ray Kassar, you know, I think was afraid of releasing new product because it might not be as successful as VCS. So that's a sure way to fail. And
I regret that we didn't have a new console by '84 that would have made it so that Atari continued to be a really viable business.
We never, ever got down to ever having any process by which we could come up with a better system.
Even to say, I think people do believe that, like, if they just released like the 5200 earlier, or if they released the 7800, or they had done different things, they would could never have they would have survived the crash a lot better, and they would be like a powerhouse today. You know, like as a kid, I didn't know much about business, but I just felt like something was wrong.
No one knew anything. Certainly, no one knew how to replace an existing console with a new one.
The real one-liner about why the game industry crashed and went away is that it was a first product life cycle and nobody knew what to do.
All right, there we go. Yeah. Mario 2049er. So they include Saboteur. Oh, okay, that's actually pretty neat then. Actually, that does remind me, it's probably actually the next thing we're going to take a look at. So we got some home ports of that. Talking about making a left-handed joystick, I think is interesting because they originally meant the joystick to be right-handed only. Also, they include a prototype of Millipede for the 5200, which I think is interesting. Also, Jack Tramiel eventually becoming the Atari thing. Talk about CEO. I might check him out later then. What is that? Huh, I've never actually seen an Atari 27, I've never actually seen an Atari 7800 controller before. I've seen this one, because I had a plug and play that was like the model of the 7800. I'd never seen the joypad before. That looks terrible. Solaris. Oh, right, there, yes. That's what I remember, is that they were very undurable. For some reason, I couldn't think of the word cheap. So, this part's interesting because not a lot of people talk, well, I would say when you think of it, when Atari does like compilation stuff, they never really talk about the Atari PC stuff. So you got like actual focus on like the Atari 800, the Atari 8-bit stuff.
I think the Atari 400, 800 were really the first home computers that I felt like were designed to be in somebody's home and for an average person to utilize.
Atari, you know, made some interesting decisions over the years. I mean, they were #1 in the world in making video games, but they saw home computers were coming. And Apple II was out, and they said, we got to compete with Apple for, you know, computers. So it came down from on high that we were going to make a computer like the Apple II, but better in some way. But the engineering department said, hey, we're video game people. Why are we doing this? But they were told, you will do this. So what actually happened was the engineers made the Atari 800 into the next best video game player. It had all the sprite capability, it had co-processors in there. You know, the first GPU in a computer was probably in the Atari 800. all of this stuff was going on in the engineering department, and yet the management thought we were making a computer. We were really just making a video game that we could make cool games on.
My participation was mainly on the prototype pre-production side. We had this very sophisticated, allegedly sophisticated, internal interactive test system called the PIT system that we couldn't get a single unit to pass. Labor Day 1979, can you guys work overtime over the weekend? We need to hand build some production units because we need to put them complete through the entire process. They need to be completely finished, consumer product in the box. We need these for JCPenney's so that they can make the holiday catalog. So we worked, I actually didn't leave Atari for about 3 days, hand building these units. And it was like 4 400s and 4 800s to ship on Monday to JCPenney's. They received them at their warehouse, they took pictures of them for the catalog, and then they immediately shipped them back to us. That was it. That's what we needed to do to get this product out.
My main contribution to the Atari 800 operating system, I created a language similar to PostScript that could draw lines and squares and circles and vector graphics drawn into the bitmap of the Atari 800 and put them into the operating system so that I didn't have to put it in any of my games. So I could borrow from the operating system stuff that I'd put in there and use it when making games. So yes, we were tasked with working on the operating system, but we did it our way. We did it in the video game method.
The idea came up that maybe I could get one of these machines for Christmas, and I thought I was going to get an Apple II because that was what I had at school and what I thought
I really appreciate the fact that there's a Death Race poster behind him.
was cool. But I got an Atari, and it was an Atari 800 with a tape cassette drive. You know, at first I was like, oh, it's not an Apple, but you know, it's my own computer. It's super exciting. And then the more I got into it, you know, the more I realized it was so much better than the Apple. Probably piss off some Apple people, but it, you know, it was really an amazing machine. I mean, the graphics and sound on it were incredible, and it was a super fun machine to program. And so that was really what got me started.
I like the fact that they listed him as, like, they list him, or Ed Freeze, as, like, the maker of Princess and the Frog for the Atari 8-bit. He was the vice president of game publishing at Microsoft for a long time. Also, apparently, he was advisor for the Ouya. So, fun little thing there. See, Star Raiders. That's certainly the Atari 830. Acoustic modem. Alright, actually, before we continue, I will be right back. Alright. Let's see. I'm trying to space this out so we can kind of get a little bit more of a spread. Let's take a look at this commercial.
Atari brings the computer age home.
Okay, Ma. What's the capital of Nebraska? Come on. I'm trying.
Atari home computers can teach you or reach you with important information anytime, day or night.
I already checked the computer. The Bears lost.
How about the Lions?
Oh, you owe me on that, too.
And if your jump shot is a little off, we can help you there, too.
Hey, guys. How about a deal? The car tonight for Atari basketball.
No. In fact, there's no end to your possibilities with Atari home computers. They're easy to use and afford. But best of all, they just might be the wisest investment you'll ever make.
Watch this. Hey, Mom. What's the capital of Delaware?
Dover.
I told you she's smart.
Atari home computers. We've brought the computer age home.
Huh. Alright, so I want to check something real quick, because I can't remember if I actually ranked this game or not. Okay, I have not. So let's take a look at 2049er. Or Minor 2049er. Also, look at that box art. By Bill Hogue. That is starring Bounty Bob. Context: one ROM cartridge for use on an Atari 400 800 with 6K memory and one joystick. Ah, let's find out. So. Oh, that's interesting that it does it like this. Let's see, what is it? Yeah, that's the full manual. Alright. Let's start. So I think the goal is you're supposed to go over and kind of city connection your way. Whoops. Okay, we should be back now. I guess this update of OBS did not fix that issue that I was having with OBS crashing. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but for some reason OBS just hard locks and I gotta restart it. Okay, anyway, that's 2049er. Or Minor 2049er. Alright. Let's put that on the board. Oh, also forgot to mention that this is a prototype. I did not beat a level. This is 1982 by Big 5 Software. For the Oh, I don't actually have an Atari 26 or 50. You know, for lack of a better thing, I'm just going to call that PC. It's a platformer. Let's call that... Oh, let's call that an 80s game. That game is not that great. Let's call that... I see Fantasy and Galactic Protector. Let's call that 16. It's kind of not that great of a game. But anyway. Let's go back. Let's see what else we got. Juggle's house. So here's one thing that kind of bugs me about this collection, and it's a relatively minor point because it's so packed with other stuff. It's like talking about this other stuff. They mentioned the Atari 20 or ST in here, yet there's no Atari ST games in here. It would have been neat to see some Atari ST stuff in here. But there is nothing here about that. Also, I do like that they bring up the Atari portfolio here. In particular, the bit... Oh! That's what I meant to do. Oh! The bit in here where they talk about the fact that it was used in Terminator 2. Also like the Atari Falcon. This is what I think is interesting that they bring up here. Is Yoomp, which is actually homebrew. They actually put in a homebrew game in here for the Atari 8-bit. So let's take a look at Yoomp. Made in 2007. Also, I like the fact that they put this in here, but they did not put in the stereo thing. Yeah, these are some hot jams. Let's start. Press fire to Yoomp. Yes, this is an incredibly demo scene, and it's great. Yeah, we be yoompin'. Oh. Whoop. Nope. Did not get the timing on that right. Yep. Timing on that's really strict. Or the placement on that, it should say, rather. Oh! Did not see that it went all the way up. Nope. I do also like that there is a volume sliders for that. So, let's see. Okay, don't only let me go to that. So that was Yoomp. Oh, there's even an instructional manual. We have not done Haunted House yet. And actually, we might not because of, I want to kind of look at the other, like the Lynx and the Jaguar for that. But yeah, I like that this had a manual. But yeah, let's back out of this. Alright, let's put Yoomp on the board. Let's see, 582. Came out in 27. It doesn't really give me a thing to... Who to say is the developer of it, so I might leave that blank. Also, for lack of a better thing again, it's a platformer. I'm gonna say 80s again, just because I feel like that's the aesthetic they're going for. That was actually... I actually really like that game. Where do we put... Oh, is it Is it Rabby? Astro Rabby. It kind of reminded me of Astro Rabby, but I think it's a better game than that. Like, because at 9 we have stuff like, I think, Adventure Island. And Aleste. I kind of feel like that's a 9. It's a very simple but very neat game. I really like the look of it. Like, they did a lot of good work on that. In which, so much that I feel like on here, much like pretty much anything you're going to see demo scene, made with abundant love. Sorry, I need to move windows around so I can actually see them. Oh, god damn it didn't copy. Values only. There we go. So yeah, Yoomp. It's a very good game. And I'll have to fill in the developer later. Alright. Since we're kind of cutting it short time-wise, I'm just going to go here. So that we can kind of quick-fire the looking at... I feel like I need to do at least a Lynx game so we can see how their Lynx implementations are. Let's take a look at Scrapyard Dog. It's often cited as the best platform game on the Lynx. Okay, so it has all this. Filter, LCD. Okay, let's zoom that out a little bit. Also, let me do this so we can see it. So, let's take a look at Scrapyard Dog. Oh, Jesus, we got shot. I've got the dog. Find us if you want to see him again. Oh. Best platform game on the Lynx. Yeah, I kind of feel like the Lynx you kind of lose a bit if you don't have, like, the obnoxious pixel filter on it. Needs to get going, the vehicle section. Oh, I was kind of hoping we'd be on a vehicle. Ow. I feel like this game is maybe not that great. Also, I hate the fact that when you throw something, it resets. Like, it just resets, like, the one you had thrown previously just kind of disappears. Okay, I think I'm actually good at this game. I can't believe that dog's dead. Alright. Okay, I think that's enough of that. Also, one other thing about the... I'm just curious if they bring it up at all for the Lynx. Do you see... I wonder if you see the word epics at all in that. Also, actually, I guess technically we should look at this for like a half a, like just a little bit. Oh, this is dire. PD. Okay, I think I'm good. I think we need to move on, and maybe we'll look at that a little bit more some other time. Let's put Scrapyard Dog on the board. Let's see, and that's 1991. Let's call it Atari games. Probably actually epics. Knowing the links as an action game, and that is, let's call it whimsical. That game was not good. I see Kaneko Monogatari here, King of the Monsters. Let's put that at 16. And let's just not speak of that game again. Alright. Let's probably take a look at, let's see, what Jaguar games do we have to work with? Let's see, Atari Cards Club Drive, Cybermorph, Evolution Dino Dudes, Fight for Life, Discman 3D, Ruiner Pinball, Tempest 2000. We've actually already ranked Tempest 2000, which is a shame because that game's good. And then Trevor McFarlane, The Crescent Galaxy. Oh man, if I gotta pick two of these, that's a tough choice. I kind of feel like Atari Carts. Oh. I feel like I might need to do another episode of this, just going through the games here. But let's just do Atari Cards, at least. I've never played this before. Horde of the Humans? It's borrowed by Miracle Designs. Let's see, challenges. Press options for game options. What are my... Okay. Oh. Mode kill. Flat. Or hill in flat. Okay. Change controls. Enter name 1. Alright, the Jaguar did have that one... Was it Killing Hour? That was like an actually decent first-person shooter. Is that a Jaguar game or is that a 3DO game? I guess let's start at beginner. Let's see, we got Regius, Scully, Palpito, Bistress, Fountainly Bear, Volky, Targmigan? Let's just be Bentley Bear, because I feel like that's probably the Mario. This font is garbage. I can't even... Warriors? Cup? Oh, this... Oh, I do not like the viewport of this game. There's something... Like, there's something even worse than Mode 7 about that. Let's just quick. Yeah, it's the kind of... Oh, good. Can't hold down the accelerator. It's kind of the thing that I wonder, like... Oh, there's something about this that just doesn't... Oh, this... Oh, something about this feels bad. This is actually slightly disorienting. Oh. Also, I appreciate that I am lapping the opponents. You know, I'm gonna be honest. It's nursing a slight headache. That is not helping. Oh, I actually remembered my name. Good. Alright, let's see what's the next. Yeah, it's just with the changing temperatures. Oh. What? I beg pardon? This feels like an Amiga game. Just gonna put that out there. Yeah, like, also his music is... I don't know. This sounds like loading music for, like... Oh, God. This just... This is abysmal. Oh, also there is a toggle music button, right? Oop. This is a game that it's like, yeah, I am technically doing good. This also is bad. It's really bad. Oh, like, it's like that... It's like last Sunday when we did that Kamen Rider racing game where I just completely dominated when I picked that one character. It's like, yeah, I did good. This game's also garbage. Like, why is this the results music for when I, like, kicked ass? I can't believe our sister got shot, apparently, or something with this music. Also, these, like, this might... Also, I've had enough of this game. Oh god, that's loud. That's also not the music that I wanted. Including one for the Nuance? Great. Exactly. Atari carts. 582. That came out 1995. I already forgot what the company that made that was. Miracle Designs. For the Jaguar. I think that might be our first Jaguar game. Now that it... No, it can't be. I guess it's supposed to be whimsical? What Jaguar games would I have had? Oh. That is it. That is the only Jaguar game I have on my list so far. That game's bad. Where's that Kamen Rider game? Oh, it's also in 21. Okay, you know what? I don't think it's that bad. Let's just do 20, because that game's garbage. That was like barely functional as a game. Actually, you know what? In that case, let's put it at 21. It's not even interesting. Oh boy. Yep. Yeah, the only exclusive one I've done so far. Yeah, okay. I'm surely these are only going to get better. Like, say, for example, when I take a look at Trevor McFur and the Crescent Galaxy. While the two games available for the Jaguar launched in North America alongside Pac-In Cybermorph, Trevor McFur's side-scrolling space shooter gameplay also let players choose their starting planet, which was uncommon at the time. This sounds like a Game.com game. Look at the description for Club Drive. Although when I close this out. Zeosis, the dry plant. Let's see, we can... Oh. Let's see. Equilibriumite, Zephyra, Cosmolite. I like this advanced slide button. Oh, I guess, but Thank you, Mr. Photoshop Lion Man. Corporal McFur, this is General Pet. Yeah, you can buy Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy. You can play this on your PlayStation 5. Legitimately. This is dire. I appreciate you just spawning, like, immediately. It does feel like... Oh, okay, I guess we're just continuing. Okay. I kind of want to get to, like, the end of a... Okay, you know what? I want to check something. Skeletal vultures. They have no flesh around, so... Oh, this... Do I get... God, this... No, I'm done. Oh, wrong thing. That was a game, I think, after Star Fox. Star Fox came out in... ...1993. I don't even think they're supposed to be Kilrathi. I think they're just like, hey, what if we made a game with animal people? And it's like, oh, you're going to get someone to do like a stylized design for them? No, we're going to Photoshop animals onto people. In like the worst way possible. So, yeah, I think we're good on Trevor McFur in the Crescent Galaxy. Came in 1993. Who is responsible for this? Flare 2? What other games had Flare 2 made? Looks like stuff for the ZX Spectrum. That makes sense. Okay. Flare 2 for the Jaguar. Shmup. It is, by technicality, a furry game. Also, I forgot to do it for this, but also... Music's bad. Charm's bad. Gameplay's bad. Storytelling is also bad. Difficulty, just whatever. Art's bad. Everything about that game is bad. That's a 21. Okay, that's that for Tournament Fair. Also, let's... Okay. Also, you're wondering about Club Drive. A semi-open world driving game. Club Drive lets player cruise down Highway 64 and embark on a 3D racing adventure right out of the 21st century. One of the first titles announced for the Jaguar, Club Drive's developed by Atari's internal team, so it's no surprise that you can drive up to the Atari offices in the game's virtual San Francisco area. Also, I want to check something real quick. Oh, also, okay, so they did get the sound emulation working, right? Okay. I got 15 minutes. Let's see, was it Club Drive? There was one of these that does say that the game was not good. Checkered Flag? Where's Checkered Flag? Checkered Flag. Where was... Oh, I can start by title. There we go. Wait, is Checkered... Wait. I remember seeing Checkered Flag. Oh, that's in the... That was in, I think over here. Nope. I do remember seeing Checkered Flag, I just can't remember where. Was it in this? Dark Chambers. I remember seeing Checkered Flag. Maybe it was underneath one of these things. But it wouldn't surprise me that I would say that. Oh, nope, I don't want to quit. Alright, let's close this off with... Oh, not sort by year, sort by platform. Let's take a look at Cyberborg. Developed by ATD. Let's see, we got Autobahn, Codex, Ennis, Grismadre, Capital, Zool, Olope, Emeth. Let's go to Autobahn. Autobahn briefing. Use the speed of the Trifgon to round up all the supply pods. Avoid kamikaze. Okay, let's see. What are my controls?
Avoid the ground.
Thank you. I've never actually seen those before. Okay. So...
Well done.
Come on, I want to pick up. You need. No, I have not. I don't think I think I stopped watching the AVGM by the time that he got to the Jaguar, weirdly enough. Or maybe I remember seeing it, it's just been a while. Uh-oh, yeah. Yes, this was the Peck and Tile. Oh. I like the UI blew up. That was kind of cool. Ouch.
Well done.
This definitely ain't no Geograph seal, that's for sure.
Well done. Ouch.
You know, it's...
Well done.
When I saw that this was a 3D...
Where did you learn to fly?
It gave me an achievement for that, by the way, called Where Did You Learn to Fly? Just saying. I didn't realize this game had achievement. That's the only achievement I've seen from this game. I think the people at Digital Eclipse know what they're doing. Did I eat it? Actually, I'm curious. What other achievements are there in this game? There's 20 achievements in this game. So there are 3 achievements in this game that are not associated with... There are 3 achievements in this game, or in Atari 50, that are not associated with one of the new games. There is that one that I just got. There is Ride the Bacon, which is successfully complete the first bonus stage in Tempest 2000. And get first place in the Miracle Race in Atari carts. I don't know why they chose those, but they did. Oh, I died. Also, the description for the Where'd You Learn to Fly achievement was earn your admonishment. Yeah, all of them are for Jaguar games. I wonder if they can, like, hook into memory or something. Okay, also, I think we're good on that. Is it 92 or 93? That's 93. Actually, and who was the developer of that? ATN. That was for the Jaguar. That is a flight sim on a technical sense. That was like a space shooter. That wasn't as bad as I was expecting. That's still not great. Like... Like I see Bullfight, Alleyway, 88 games, Castle Wolfenstein. I think 17 is fine for that. So, I think that's good for that. Alright, oop, hit the wrong button again. So, that's essentially, that's pretty much it for, at least what we're going to look at Atari 50 today. This collection is very good. I'm curious if they have... Where are you? Also, I do like that they do call out Jeff Minter for this. So let's actually play for like a couple minutes. Let's take a look, because we actually looked at the PlayStation version of this, but not this version. Else we're gonna have to turn this up. Oh, what is this just? Oh, wait a second. Jeff Minter is a treasure. What is the options for this game? Okay, I guess we're just... What is the options for this game? Control. I guess you can't access the options for some reason? So, I guess this kind of just looks like the PlayStation version. Zappo. Jump enabled. Eat electric death. Jeff Minter is great. AI droid. Okay. Up. So yeah, this seems to be basically the same as that other PlayStation version, which is pretty good. So there is one thing I do want to do for this, though, because I do feel like it is noteworthy. I'm not going to cancel or back out of this. And normally I don't do this, but I do feel like for this it is notable or noteworthy enough. Where is Fubar? Oh, it's hidden underneath this. So, I want to rank Atari 50 itself. Because I feel like there's enough in here to be kind of notable for itself. This is probably one of the best compilations I have seen in a long time. Like, this is actually, like, for a compilation, is incredibly good. The one thing I will say that's kind of a bummer is I don't like the fact that they block options changing for some of these. Or maybe I just couldn't figure out what the button was. But, yeah, they did, like, the emulation seems pretty spot on for, or, like, it seems pretty good. Like, it's definitely serviceable. The games itself, you get a kind of a mix of categories. But I feel like the heart that went into this, I feel like you're not going to get a, like, there's not been a whole lot of compilations this good lately. And I think they nailed it out of the park for Atari 50. I think it is a $40 game. At least I'm will double check to make sure it's $40. I think it is definitely warranted. Like the price, I think you get enough in it. It is in fact $40. I just think that for what you get, while the games themselves might not be that great, because you're going through such a weird span of history that, you know, part of the Atari story is the fact that their quality kind of dipped. But I think for the most part, like, especially if you look, like, I think it's very commendable what Digital Clips did, and I think they put out a very good product. The only quibble I would have is the options stuff. But that's about it. So I would say if it would be perfect if they had, like, the option stuff and some of the controls were a little bit more tuned. So I'll give it a 2. But I think for the most part, that is a very good collection. And I can definitely tell they put a lot of love into this. It's just a very good collection, and it's just very well stylized. The charm of it's good. They know the humor of it, I think, is pretty good. They know to ask the right questions, and I think they just did a fantastic job with this game. I do definitely I do highly recommend Atari 50. $40 might be a lot for, if you're not super into retro stuff, but I think considering you get kind of the stuff of, like, both a game compilation that has over 90 games in it, plus we didn't cover a lot of the new games, which are actually pretty good. So I feel like the price is definitely up there, but I think you get enough with it. It's just my only quibble is that there are some slight control issues, and I kind of wish that they let you poke around the options a little bit more. Also, there is some... I kind of wish that they did some stuff with the Atari ST, but maybe they just didn't have any, like, exclusives for it that would be warranted, but that's just me. Anyway, with that, that is definitely going to do it for today. So let's go ahead and close this one out. So, thank you all for watching. Personal Twitter is @LoadAPuzzle. I have a Discord where we can chat with the community, take part in polls, and do other stuff. You can find that going to club.hazel.town in your browser. I do also have a coffee page where you can help with hosting costs and various other things. If you're watching this on a VOD, you can watch these live Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time at theater.hazel.town. You can also find VODs by going to beconrewind.hazel.town, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 8 a.m. Eastern. I do also have a podcast channel which you can listen to Media Delta and Hazeltown Story, which are recorded audio podcast. You can also find it on YouTube, but you can also find it on podcast by going to radio.hazel.town. That'll tell you how to get in your podcatcher of choice, or you can just listen to it there. But yeah. So Friday, I am starting a... I don't know if it's going to be a full playthrough, but we are going to be taking a look at Onimusha Warlords, a game that I've not played and kind of came up on the Long Play Box of Mystery. So I am curious to see how that is, because I've heard a lot about it, but I've never actually played it myself. So that'll be that. Gonna send you all over to Real Slavic Bear, who is doing a Dragon Day. I believe the theme is underwater games, and from the preview that I got, it's going to be an interesting one today. So there will be that. So I'm going to go send you all over to them, and I hope you have a good rest of whatever time it is when you're watching. So later.